Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish.
And my dog is just, being disgusting.
You can't see him. He gets cropped out.
Good.
Well, I know by the time everyone listens to this, the Super Bowl will be very old news. But
I don't know, they're still partying.
I know, that's true. They just had the parade. Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs won, so that was a win for Travis and Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to talk sports on this pod because we just don't, but I thought it was funny when Travis was like very overexcited in his little speech at the end, and everyone's like panning to Taylor and being like, she got the ick. She got the ick.
I know. I literally, when that was on, I was said that to my husband. I'm like, oh dear.
It was cringy, honestly.
I know. I guess it was probably,
just really
overwhelmed.
Excited. Yeah. I will say, I know that the whole thing, him yelling at Andy Reid, has been a topic of conversation with a lot of people, and I don't want to blow things out of proportion. Emotions are very high, and I did hear that since then he has apologized to Andy Reid, and I don't think he really needed to make a public apology to everybody.
Right.
I think that was more between them, but we talked about after it happened, I don't want to be dramatic, but I really do think that is something that, Taylor should kind of be cognizant of.
I know.
And that's an umbrella for basically all athletes. I feel like. Right.
That's the testosterone is running high in that situation.
And that is scary. They're such big.
I know, and he's
men.
He's a big guy. I know. I was talking to the lady at work too. I was like, I don't know, it's just a little scary. Again, he's probably not. He was so sweet to her,
right? We're not alleging anything,
but I would be a little bit. And I'm sure, I don't know, maybe he has a different persona too, and it's just when he's not in the zone or whatever. But it was if I remember correctly, he did kind of grab the coach on the arm.
Yeah. He got him a little unsteady.
Mm-hmm. And that's an older man. Right.
Yeah. It would just be something I would keep a note of in the back of my head. And
right. If he gets mad at me, will he yell at me? And that's the thing too, when maybe he doesn't even realize how big and powerful he really is, maybe if he's
Yeah.
yelling, he doesn't realize that it sounds it's really scary, a monster almost.
I know. I think she should just keep that in mind. We're not alleging anything or anything like that, but I would be holding on to that situation if I were her.
And I'm sure she didn't see it at the time.
Yeah.
But maybe
it's
seen
all
some
over
videos
the internet now.
Right.
So, but you made a good point too when we were talking about that incident, and you're like, well, Patrick Mahomes doesn't act that way.
Yeah, I know. It's and this is my first time seeing Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I've heard of him, but I've
actually watching.
Yeah, seen him and stuff, and I was like, oh, he's. Again, first time seeing him. He seems like a decent person. So it was kind of
and I will say,
you don't have to act like that just because you're an athlete.
A big football player. Yeah, I will say, with Patrick Mahomes, sometimes the stuff he does, is a little annoying. And but I honestly, after watching this Super Bowl and some of the playoff games leading up to it, just hearing some of his interviews, and he is just very well spoken, and I really appreciate just how we see him in the public eye as a dad and being very supportive to his wife. And like, he's very level-headed. He knows he's good at his job, and he doesn't, you know, have to add any extra flares to it. And like, just seeing the difference between, I'm sure he was really frustrated on plays too, but like, he didn't take that out on others, or he was in control. And I just really appreciated that.
I know, it was cool to see an athlete just kind of be like, maybe potentially a decent,
right? And obviously we don't know these people,
respectful person. But I mean, it was like, when I sent that, I was like, because this was kind of like my first time really, not to be dramatic, but I just don't like sports. I don't like cards. I don't like beer. I'm not a cool girl. Like, I don't know. It was such a extreme difference for me to like see that, and then or like see the way Travis acted, and then to see like the way Patrick acted.
And I didn't really like some of the narrative that I was seeing online, where it was like, oh, all these people who are just now watching, you don't know the game. This stuff happens. What, should we normalize this type of aggression?
Right.
And I mean, in the grand scheme, like, Andy Reid is Travis Kelce's boss.
Yeah.
Like, if I went up and yelled in my boss's face,
grabbed them,
like, that would not fly at all. And it's like, just, I know it's a very emotional time. It's high stakes. I totally get that. But you still need to know how to just keep your emotions in check and know what's an appropriate time and place to release that type of energy and aggression that you have.
Throwing your helmet.
Yeah.
I know, after that happened, I was talking to my husband. I'm like,
what did he think about it?
Well, then I was like, well, the conversation got cut short for some reason, but I was like, is he going to get in trouble for that? And he goes, they just won the Super Bowl. And I said, so if they lost the Super Bowl, would he get in trouble for that? He's like, well, I can't remember what he said. And I was like, so I never really got like a resolution. But I just feel like, I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not.
Yeah, like, you're right. Like, if they would have lost, would it have been like, a whole different thing?
Me? Yeah. And like, would people, and I know people are talking about it right now, but would they be more like mean about it if they hadn't won?
And I don't know. Like I said, I mean, we're not involved in this sport, but I think all of us in our own like lives or professions have had things that have happened that are really frustrating. They bring out some type of emotion in us, but I don't have the luxury to just fly off the handle in my job.
I have to keep it together.
Yeah.
And still do my job regardless. So if I'm happy about it.
Yeah. And it's like kind of scary, like with sports, like you said, these men that have just these testosterone fueled bodies, just like, flying everywhere. And you know what? I don't want to go here, but if this was a woman's
I know, I was
sport,
literally just thinking that. I was about to be like, is it because I'm a woman and I just have to keep it together?
They'd be like, she's so erratic. I know. You know, like it would be
she's
a whole different narrative.
Period.
Yeah, it would be a whole different narrative.
I know. And I saw this TikTok too, and it was like going through Travis Kelce through the years of his like net worth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're getting paid that much, and I know you're sacrificing a lot with your body and everything, but it's like, I feel like you should be held to a pretty high standard if you're, you know, making that kind of money.
And, you know, I even saw like an interview after, and it was, I don't even know who it was with, but it was not on the field with all the confetti. It was like after all that happened, and he and Patrick were being interviewed.
I think I saw that too.
Yeah, and
it's like, you saw that?
Yes, and Travis gave kind of like a jokey answer, like, I was just telling him how much I love him, whatever. Yeah. And then Patrick Mahomes, who is very cognizant of appearances and more media trained, and honestly I think probably more mature too.
I know, I was like, you know what, in my opinion he's a stand-up man. Like, I love Patrick Mahomes now.
But he gave such like an eloquent answer, and he's like, you know, like, we understand, you know, I don't know exactly what he said, but it was just like, yeah, that's probably what you should have said,
Right.
Travis. Like, instead of trying to like brush this under the rug, like,
it was kind of
yeah, little me. Like,
but I know.
yeah, anyway, I don't want to talk it to death,
Right.
but it is just like weird how I thought, especially on social media, people are like, all these people that just now started the game, they don't understand. But
like, I
from,
still
like,
understand how to be a professional.
right. And it's just, we shouldn't normalize this type of aggression and erratic behavior, especially, you know, again, not to go here, but there is a high percentage of athletes who are involved in some DV disputes with their partners. So, I mean, that's like a real thing,
right?
You know?
And then all the, you know, concussions and everything. But I was thinking too, I'm like, you know, I have 2 sons, and if they would have seen that, you know, as older,
right,
it's like if they saw that and they really looked up to him and they saw him acting like that, it's like, how am I supposed to explain to them, like, no, you can't just fly off the handle when you're mad? But Travis Kelce does it,
right? So then you've got a little like 10-year-old on the sidelines losing his mind,
throwing his little helmet on the ground, stomping. It's like he,
like way shorter than the coach, but like yelling up at him.
Yeah, so just saying, it's like just not setting a great example for young athletes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe Taylor can help him to channel his emotions in a more healthy way. Yeah, into music. So we'll see. I am interested, just talking about like them now, like to see where things go from here, because now football season's over.
Right.
How are we going to see them out and about?
I know. Maybe they'll get to actually spend like quality alone time together.
I know. Will we see them in the public eye?
Well, he'll probably be out on tour with her a little bit.
How long is her tour? Do you know?
I don't know, but I know she's bouncing around like every bit of time. So I know in like June she's going to be in Europe. But I thought she was coming back here and like
she was too.
For a couple more shows too. So I don't know if that's before June.
This tour
is like a full year.
Yeah.
Full year world tour.
It's exhausting.
That is exhausting.
Everybody that was like, oh my gosh, how is she not so tired? She just was on the... Well, I'll tell you why she's not tired, because she can get however many sleeping pills she wants from whatever doctor and was in the luxury of a private jet.
Right.
Like, that's why she's not tired.
Right.
Like, she can take care of herself, even though it was like a very whirlwind travel couple days.
Right.
Is he okay?
Yeah, well, at first... Sorry, he said, can I come out? And now he just said, never mind.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I fear for their relationship with how the media is just...
I know.
kind of taking things too far. Like,
I know.
We don't know exactly how long they've been dating, but I think us... being like, he's gonna propose.
I know, that's psychotic.
It's crazy.
And even like, I'm sure Jason, like that one video, it's like, I'm sure Jason Kelce has a ton of fans that were crazy about him and stuff, but I feel like it's affecting all of them.
I know.
You know, it's like, now I'm a fan of Patrick Mahomes. I didn't even know he existed before.
You have Chiefs merch.
Right. So it's like, it's just really affecting them all.
I know. And this is like nothing against Taylor Swift, because it's not her doing fully. It's just like, why have we as a society and the media like put her on such a huge pedestal that it's like everybody is so obsessed with every single move that she makes, everything that she does. It's like we're suddenly ride or die for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're in love with the Eagles too, because that's like involved. Like, it's kind of weird.
It is weird. It's very like parasocial.
Yes.
I know. But hopefully, I'm hoping that like with the football season ending, it'll die down a little bit. But it is kind of crazy that like then they won the Super Bowl.
I know.
Like, it's like, my gosh. And I don't know.
Of course they did.
Right. It's like, I know in my head I was like, when they were like kind of losing in the beginning, I'm like, what? Like it wasn't computing in my head.
This isn't how the story is supposed to end.
It's like, no. But
yeah, I know it's so I don't know if we're gonna see him at her shows or how they're gonna, but yeah, I do kind of hope that they just fly under the radar for a little while.
I'm thinking they probably
will
and just kind of like quiet down a bit.
Yeah, just let everybody take a chill pill, and they deserve privacy too, guys.
They do.
What did you think of the halftime show?
I thought it was good. And then I heard people saying that it wasn't. I'm like, I thought it was good. I did feel like it was too short. I'm like, that's all we get.
Yeah, and I thought, because last year I really liked Rihanna's performance. Like, that was really good. But one of the things I really liked about it was that she sang like a good amount of her songs. And that was the thing with Usher. I wish he would have sang more.
I know. I heard a lot of people say that, and that's what my husband was saying. He's like, he didn't sing. I was like, I don't know. I guess he didn't.
Yeah,
he did a lot of dancing.
Yeah, and I know that's what he's like known for.
Right.
And it was entertaining. It was fun to watch, but it was kind of like, oh, I wish I would have heard more of "Loving This Club." Or,
I know. I definitely feel like so in like the song.
Yeah,
that's so nostalgic.
I know.
It's like the ultimate.
I think he should have started it out with Daddy's Home. I mean, he really
that would have made sense.
I know.
I mean, I don't know. I guess, it could have been like a little, it was so big and over the top that he did get a little bit lost in it.
But there's so much pressure. Like, it really is high stakes.
You can't win. I know. You literally can't win. I do love when on the Super Bowl performances, though, do like that marching band music.
Oh, yeah. It makes it fun.
I know. I'm like, that's cool. But
I remember back, I don't even know what year that would have been with the whole Justin Timberlake debacle. And before that time, it always was like 3 people were the headliners of the Super Bowl. And so you'd get like a mix of a lot of different stuff, and it was really fun. And then after that happened, they were like, oh no, we can't do this anymore. We need one person and we need to vet it all. And then now I feel like we're just coming back a little bit more into having like more special guests pop in. And I just think that makes the performance more dynamic and fun.
I know, and it is fun. And then it gives like those people a chance to get up there and perform again. Yeah,
because it was fun that Alicia Keys got to sing her song, and Lil Jon got to sing, I guess. I don't know. Shots.
Yeah.
Just kind of yelling. But like, that was fun that they got to do that. And then she had her song too, which I didn't know that song. And I thought it was funny how people were like, Northwest?
I know. She did kind of look like it once they pointed it out. Wouldn't that have been something of Northwest?
Oh my gosh. That would have been hilarious.
She would have freaking loved it. Wouldn't that be like if Kanye West did the halftime show and North came out? That'd be so iconic.
Unfortunately,
this is not going to be.
We're gonna get to that point. But you never know. It would be cool though. We're separating the artist from the man. I think with his discography, is that how you say that? Kanye would be able to carry a good halftime show with everything that he's done in the past, but I think he's got some apologizing to do before we get anywhere near that. Yeah. The one commercial I really liked was the Sarah V, Michael Sarah. I literally laughed out loud.
That was iconic. Whatever intern came up with that.
I know.
That was great. I never even put the two together, but it's so good. Good for him.
I know, it was so funny. Like, I laughed out loud. That one, and I thought the Duncan one was funny too with Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah, that one was good too. That was fun. It's so fun when you don't know these people are doing these commercials, and you're like, wait a minute.
I know. It's fun to see that side of Ben Affleck too,
I
because he
know.
always seems like such a grumpy Gil, but
grumpy dad.
yeah,
with his Crocs, like even though he doesn't really wear those,
spilling his Dunkin' on the ground. Like, so that was funny, and there were a lot of little cameos in that one too. It was
that was
cute.
a good one.
Yeah, but anyway, no one probably cares because this happened almost a week ago by the time you listen. But whatever, we had to talk about it.
Yes. Hailey Bieber is looking so good right now.
She dyed her hair darker.
I know. It's like more of that like ashy, and it looks so good, especially because she has like a little tan.
I know. I'm livid because I'm transitioning to lighter for this season, and then I see her at the Super Bowl with darker hair. I'm like, are you kidding me? I need to text my stylist.
I know, and she got the little extensions.
Yeah, I know. She
looks so good.
I'm tired of the hate on her and Justin. It's like, leave them alone.
I know, like I understand, I guess, where they're coming from with the hate, but I don't know. I kind of don't want to hate on her.
I know. It's
just so pretty.
Right. And I just, it's like, whatever. We're beyond all that now.
I know.
Get over
I know.
it.
Like, if you want to hate on her about something besides Selena Gomez.
Yeah. If you want to hate on her for being annoying or something.
Like, that's fine.
But
I'm just sick of the Selena Gomez, like, people coming out.
Yeah. It's unnecessary. Especially now that she's, again, moved on in a relationship.
I know. And then I saw that headline where they're like, Justin Bieber and Kim and Hailey are all looking bored at the Super Bowl. It's like, do you really think they're the type of people that watch football?
I know. I thought that exact same thing. They're like, look at Kim Kardashian's boring suite compared to Taylor Swift. Oh, I don't know.
Taylor's
Maybe
boyfriend
because
is Blaine.
Yeah, and his whole family is in that suite. Of course, everybody's excited. Like, it's not even a fair comparison.
I know, and it's like they were obviously just there to go see Usher, probably, I would think.
Or just to be seen, you know? Like, look at all the other people that went just to be seen because they can go, because they have $1 million to blow on a suite.
Why not have a Vegas weekend?
Yeah, I mean, come on. I thought that was dumb.
I know. I'm like,
and you know what? We don't even know when those pictures were taken. It could have been during a timeout. It could have been during halftime before Usher came out. Like, you don't even know.
No.
So stop.
Literally.
I did post about Kim and Odell Beckham Jr. allegedly confirming their romance. And, you know, we made that social media post about it. I'm sorry. Like, Kylie leveled you guys up. Get in line.
I know. I just think it's like, I don't know. It's like, are we done with the athlete thing?
Well, and again, we don't know these people, but Odell Beckham doesn't necessarily have like the best track record of being like a wonderful person.
I know.
You know, he's a very typical athlete.
Right. It's like you got kids.
Yeah.
At this point. I don't know. And then it makes me almost think like, is it even real?
I know.
Or is it just like a thing? Like, let's get her with like Bradley Cooper or something.
Right.
Like,
which I don't want. Bradley Cooper is great right now with Gigi.
Right.
But she needs to be.
Well, the age difference is a little.
I don't care about it.
I don't know. I just think it's that.
Listen, they both have a kid.
Yeah.
Why not have a couple together? Gigi will be done with her modeling in a couple years, like for shows, and then she'll just stay beautiful and end up like Elle Macpherson. So just, you know.
I don't, but I do think it would be like something like that for Kim would be.
I agree.
I just think it would be better. Like, who else? Even like that'd be kind of fun, like a summer romance with Leo or something.
Like, but do you think maybe? I mean, Kim obviously is an intelligent woman. Like, she has proven that with just how her business mind and also how she's been able to, you know, pass the baby bar and do all that stuff with her law journey. I don't know how much
activism,
but whatever. So I just feel like, and I'm not trying to say anything negative about any athlete either, but it's just it just seems like she's doing so much more now than she was back in the day when she was dating like Reggie Bush. And it's like, don't you want someone who has a little bit more substance? And
or like, does she, well, and then it's kind of like one of those things too. It's like, if Kim Kardashian isn't with Kanye West, then like who is on a Kim Kardashian level? Like it's kind of like if Beyonce and Jay-Z aren't, it's like
who will Beyonce be
like
with?
who can, like literally there's no way for, so I don't know if it's kind of sorry, like that. And maybe she's just having fun with, I don't know, hot guy, I guess.
What about Joe Manganiello? Is that how you say his last name? That would be a good one.
That would be good, but he wants more kids. I guess they could do surrogate
she
again.
Already has, like, they're young. He could take over. Yeah, they could do a little surrogate, one last baby. Look at Courtney just had another baby. Like, what? Come on, Kim could do it.
Right.
I think that could be a good little match.
Yeah, just like something.
But maybe she doesn't want somebody who has a little bit more, you know? I don't know.
No, like, like I said, it's like if she isn't with the biggest rapper of all time, it's like, who is she with? She's just having fun, I guess.
But that's where it's like I almost would rather her be with Tom Brady.
Right. I know. See, now that one I thought would have been cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if she just wasn't into it, or
I can't really see them having chemistry, honestly. No. But somebody, like, he's retired. He, you know, people can argue that he's the best. It was the best in the game.
The GOAT.
Yeah. So it's like, that's who she needs to be, with somebody like that. You're right.
Like a caliber of.
Yeah. And I don't really think that OBJ has that going for him.
Right. I know. It just seems kind of like.
It just, she's taken a step back, in my opinion.
I think so too. Like, because even when she was with Pete Davidson, like, it was like a good red carpet situation where it's like, we know it's not going to last, but it was like.
And it was so different from who she had ever dated before.
And it was like kind of fun to see. Yeah, I was like,
I know.
Hoping that was just a rumor.
Well, apparently not, because I wonder if she got a tip off about the Beyonce thing, because when she wore that cowboy hat to Vegas, I'm like, that's kind of random. And then look what happens. Beyonce releases two country singles. So are they still in contact? I wonder.
I thought they didn't like each other. Complicated.
And the last relationship thing I wanted to bring up, because I posted about it last night, was that we got confirmation that MGK and Megan are still going strong. I got a little worried when I saw a lot of solo shots of her over Super Bowl weekend.
I'm glad they kind of like took a step back.
Me too.
You know, like the daddy said, wear this. But I was glad to see they were still together, because I figured they were, but it just was kind of like, I'm not really hearing anything, but I guess that's better.
And it was a little suspicious, like, why would he, like, she doesn't necessarily go out all the time either. So I'm like, why would she be going out without him?
Right.
And like posting about it and stuff.
Right.
So, and then I saw the picture, which the lighting was horrible, and it was not a good quality picture that was posted with like her and MGK and then Travis and Taylor. And people were like, that's not Megan, and we're saying stuff about her face. And then I saw before I came over here that Megan posted about it, and she posted like the professional picture, whoever took it from the front with a flash, better lighting. And she's like, oh, like, it's not me really, because here it is with the not crappy like phone camera, and like, look, it is me.
Right.
I thought it was funny how she kind of like
called that out.
She's
sassy like
I know.
Yeah. It's good to see them.
It is weird though, like if you look at side by sides, and we've talked about this before, like Megan Fox to me is still so beautiful, but it's when you see the pictures of her back, you
I
know,
know.
in the Shia LaBeouf era, which I know she was much younger then
Right.
too, but it's just like you were naturally so beautiful.
I know.
And
Like even that high school picture of her that floats around, it's like nobody in. I don't remember anyone looking that good.
I know, but she went through that weird time with Brian Austin Green, and we don't
really
know
did
exactly.
A number on her.
Yeah, we don't know all the ins and outs of that, and she just.
I know, and it kind of like started too in Jennifer's body, where it was like the lips got
a little bigger
and stuff. Yeah, I know it was. I know. I mean, she definitely looks like she's gotten work done, and I think she kind of plays it off like. No, I literally didn't. But it's like,
you clearly
girl, you did. Which is fine. She still looks amazing, but
it's like also, that's what she said in the post too. She's like, people are saying that I look like a blow-up doll, but I actually look like one of the super realistic sex dolls that you get from Japan. But it's weird. I feel like that's kind of her vibe recently,
right?
Too.
Yeah, and
like,
I do think she, like, that's kind of like the look she's going for.
Yeah.
Like she's really embracing like the sex kitten.
I know, but you know, back in the day too, like she obviously went through that period where she was tanning,
right?
And now she is definitely more pale.
Mm-hmm.
I think when she puts on heavier makeup or changes her hair color, like. That makes it look so much more like a persona,
right.
And maybe a little bit more harsh
mm-hmm.
than.
And she does have like super icy blue eyes, and then like the dark hair usually.
Yeah,
and it's like that is a very like extreme look, and like the pale skin.
I know, and that alone makes somebody look kind of fake. You know? Yeah. Doesn't matter. Love her no matter what.
I know, she's still perfect.
You're never gonna
11 out of 10.
I know. We're never gonna stray from her.
Hold on. Oh, I just thought this would be an interesting topic. I already sent it to you on Snap, but like funeral attire.
Oh yeah.
I just like when you go to a funeral, and I know it's like, I don't know, it just seems unnecessary to wear something super skin tight.
I know.
And short.
It's like,
why?
Are you trying to pick someone up?
Literally.
Like, because it's mostly your family.
That's like, what I think is the weirdest part about it. I don't know. I just feel like when you're at a funeral, you shouldn't be distracting.
It's not about you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just sometimes, I don't know.
But I feel like people just sometimes don't even know how to act. Like you see that at weddings too. Like sometimes I'm shocked at what people will wear to a wedding and think that that's appropriate.
Right.
It's like, so it's almost weird because for a wedding, if somebody comes in like a tight short dress, you're just kind of like, whoa, like maybe chill out a little bit, or you're ready to party. But then sometimes in weddings, people go like to the complete opposite end and go so casual.
Right.
But then where like that would probably be more appropriate at a funeral.
Right.
But like, why is it flip-flopped?
Right.
Like,
I know, it's like, I guess, I don't know. It's just too much sometimes.
But like you said, do maybe like younger people not have?
Oh, yeah. Like if they're in college, maybe they have a bunch of going out dresses and they don't have like a loose t-shirt dress.
But like, then put on pants and a sweater. Like everybody has pants and a sweater.
Right.
Come on.
It just seems kind of like, I don't know. It's just too much. And like, I don't know. I guess you shouldn't pay attention to what other people are wearing, but it is like, whoa.
A little jarring.
Yeah, you're like, why are we? And then especially if they look cold with their skin tight short sleeve short dress and they're like crunched up and walking through whatever the aisles and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so now what was that?
I don't know. Like, are we maybe just oldies where we are more cognizant of like what we think is appropriate?
I know, like maybe if I was 20, I might wear something inappropriate.
Yeah, I don't know.
wedding or funeral.
But also, like, I mean, I feel like throughout my lifetime, like, I've been to a lot of random, like, wakes and funerals, like, even at a young age. And I'm not saying that as, like, oh, poor me. It wasn't. It was just, like, a lot of random people sometimes. But, so I just would always wear something that was, I don't know, it was appropriate. Like, it's conservative. It's not about me. It's about these people who are grieving. Like, I'm here to support them. I don't need, this isn't a fashion show, but like, and then, you know, I mean, I typically would wear black, but I also have a lot of black in my wardrobe. A closed-toed heel or shoe. I think if we Googled it, that would be appropriate funeral attire.
And like, I wish people sometimes would be more dramatic at funerals with their attire sometimes too, with like the hats and stuff. But then it's like nobody does that.
But I think that would be like fine for immediate family. You know, I mean, maybe next time, well, let's pocket that idea, and next time we have a death in our immediate family, we can go shopping.
I'd love to be like dramatic if something happened to somebody.
Funeral veil.
Yes.
We can buy those.
Yes, gloves.
Well, we probably would have to be in mourning for a certain amount of time, so we could also wear it later, like throughout the week afterwards to work. Let everybody know. Isn't that what they used to do, like back a long time ago?
Why'd we stop doing that?
I don't know.
Why didn't we want to be more dramatic? We deserve it. If something like that happens, you should deserve to be.
Everyone should know
what exactly happened.
Yeah, I agree with you, though.
Yes.
This is not a good transition at all. It's actually a very morbid one. But have you seen Scott Disick recently?
I have seen just like one little picture of him.
Well, I saw a video where he was talking about he went to see a medium, and I was genuinely shocked at how thin he is looking. I mean, he's very gaunt, and I know some people in comments were like, oh, is he on Ozempic? But I'm like, I hope he's okay. Like, legitimately. Like, is his health okay?
I know he's probably really going. I mean, I feel like he probably is really struggling with where his life has gone.
I know.
And I don't even. I know that's definitely a hard one with Scott.
You'll have to
actually maybe look
it up.
For him.
It was on his TikTok, and then I checked, because at first when I saw it on TikTok, I'm like, is this really him? Like, is this for real? But then I looked on his Instagram, and he had also posted that same video on there. So it really was him. It was also really random that he was posting about seeing this medium. I don't know where that came from, but I would also like to talk to a medium, so I guess it's not really that odd. But he just looked very, very thin and very gaunt, and I just hope that he's. I hope he's not druggy sick or I know. I would hate to see that.
I know. Yeah, I wonder. Is he dating someone right now?
I don't know.
Young thing?
I haven't heard or seen anything, but
he's kind of like went away in a way. When he wasn't. I think this past season he was on it a little bit of the Kardashians, but he wasn't on it for like the new Hulu.
I know that we've talked about this before, and it is a really challenging situation, but it's like, and you know, he made tons of mistakes, and like he made his own bed and needs to lay in it, but it also is like they really became his family.
Right.
And when he and Courtney weren't together, he still was like in the mix with everybody, and now, and he still always will be because of the kids, but now that Courtney is fully moved on, is married, and has a kid with her husband, it's like, okay, Scott probably doesn't even feel comfortable to be around that anymore. And I don't know if Courtney would want him to be around that either. Like, So it's just a really, like, I imagine that's a tough position for him to be in too.
Right. And like kind of the way the Kardashians treat men, the men in their life too. It's like, well, you don't serve me anymore.
Right.
You're not really my problem. Which, like, if that's your ex, like, I guess it's not your problem. But
it's, I guess with them, it's just kind of messier because, I mean, they went through so much on the show.
Right.
And then, you know, he really was just completely intertwined. They went through so many ups and downs, but he was still in with the family mix. Then his parents passed away and he went through all that stuff, still in the mix. And then all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, there was a lot leading up to it, but it's like that's kind of all gone now. And I'm sure he kind of feels like, well, where do I fit?
Right.
And I don't know, obviously we don't know them, but I don't know how many like real close friends he has in his life that are positive.
Right. And just like the part 2 where he was on a show for such a long time and he's not on it anymore, and that has to be a super weird dynamic. And it's not like it was like, oh, I was on Summer House for 3 seasons. It's like this was like 15 seasons or something. I don't know what it was.
Huge chunk
and
of
then
their
all
life.
the spin-offs, it's like they were constantly filming, and that's gotta be a really weird like thing too.
Yeah.
Like your life is totally different and it's not being filmed. And you're not like this over the top character. It's like maybe he's having like an identity crisis too. It's like, who even am I?
And just like also the pressure of maintaining a lifestyle, like, you know, I mean,
not on the payroll anymore.
Yeah, like that was a guaranteed check that he was getting, and now, you know, he's not getting that anymore. And I know he's always kind of had different like business dealings and whatever, but it's also like, you know, how is he maintaining this lifestyle?
Right. And it's like we don't really see him anymore. And like when he was on the show, it's like we've felt connected to him as fans.
Yeah.
And now it's like I don't hear from him anymore. And it's like not in a mean way, but I kind of like forget about him.
No, I know.
And so he's probably feeling that people are forgetting about him.
And it's just, I don't know, just because there is so much history, like I really do feel some sympathy for how everything kind of turned out. And it's not saying that he and Courtney had to be together, but it's just like, man, like it's just a stark change to what his life was even just a couple years ago.
Right.
So Scott, if you're listening, we hope you're doing okay. Yes. Please let us know if you need anything. Yeah, there's a spot right here for you. Yeah, do you have any other like hot topics? I didn't write a ton down this week.
Yeah, this was kind of like a weird week and kind of like a busy week too.
Yeah.
Personally. But I did watch the movie. I've been wanting to watch it because I listened to the book. We need to talk about Kevin with Tilda. Shoot, what's her last?
Swinton?
Yes.
What is that movie? I heard it, but I can't recall.
And that Ezra Miller. Wait, Miller?
Oh, yes. The disgraced Ezra Miller.
Yes. And like, it's about a mom, like, understanding and like reminiscing on the fact that her son was like a school shooter. Okay. And so it's like, and then her son's like in jail, but it like goes through her life. The book did a better, like, you know, in the movie where it was like changing time, it would like her hair would be different. It was like kind of that thing.
Yeah.
But the book did a better, obviously, because a long book getting shortened into.
And it can literally say like, this is the date.
And it's like, it was from her perspective and her like inner thoughts. And we don't get that in the movie, but it was still like it was kind of good. But that I was expecting this Ezra, because I feel like people bring this movie up all the time with him. This came
out a couple years ago.
No, I think it's old.
Oh, like more than that? Okay.
I think. I'm actually not sure, but.
Well, I guess everything kind of went down with him a couple years ago. So, yeah.
I know. And then I was watching a video about somebody talking about this movie, and everybody was like, was he even, it's so spooky to watch it now in 2012. So
Oh my gosh, I didn't think it was that old.
I know, which that doesn't even feel that long ago. But
No, but that makes sense, I guess.
They're like, was he even playing a character in this movie? He's like a psycho.
Oh my God.
I know. And I was expecting him to be in the movie a lot more, but I know it was mostly about the mom. But I would have really liked to seen him more in it. But I actually thought those two as like a mother-son duo
was it interesting?
Was a good. Yeah. And like they had her hair dyed dark. But they actually looked like they could be like mother and son. And I felt like they had like a good bad chemistry together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was like kind of cool to see him. And
that would have been post Perks of being a wallflower then. Right? Because I think Perks came out when we were in high school, didn't it?
I don't remember.
I think it did.
Yeah, so maybe it would have been about the same time.
Maybe a couple years difference.
Yeah, so.
Wow. I
know, so it was interesting. Book's better, but movie was interesting. Good acting. And John C. Reilly was the dad.
Oh, okay.
Which was kind of random.
That is really random.
And then, like, his role wasn't necessarily super serious, but it was weird to see him in such like a serious,
so
heavy
hard.
movie.
I know. That's what
to like
is so
take it
tough.
seriously. And like he did good. Like,
but I feel that way with Vince Vaughn all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and not that he does a ton of stuff where he's like the lead in a serious film, but even if he's just a cameo, I'm like, I can't.
No.
I can't deal with this.
Stop goofing.
I know. Crack your joke. Come on.
That's what we want from you.
Yeah. Like John C. Reilly is definitely typecast.
I know. So it was like kind of in 2012, like that would have probably been in like his heyday too, of like all those comedies. And then he gets like this movie. But
he just wanted to mix it up, show his range.
Kind of loved it for him.
Well, should we take a little break before we get started? Okay. The temperatures are starting to cool down, and you know what that means. It is cookie making season. So instead of making your own cookie dough or going and buying that prepackaged stuff at the store that we know isn't super healthy, why not try something that is actually made with good for you ingredients? That is where dough comes in. These cookie doughs are ready to make right out of the tub, and you can also eat the cookie dough raw because it is vegan and gluten-free. The best part is that it's enhanced with different vitamins and supplements that can support your immunity or help stabilize your mood. We have tried a few of these different flavors, and we're always eager to try new ones. They are so delicious. We've tried the donuts as well, which are so perfect to put in your lunchbox for work, and we're going to be trying some of the delicious spreads that they have soon. So if any of that sounds good to you, go to Eat Dough. That's dough spelled DEUX.com and use our promo code WATERBOTTLE for 10% off. That's eatdough.com and use promo code WATERBOTTLE.
We're back.
We're back. I love taking our breaks now.
They're so relaxing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, should we get into VPR?
Sure.
I really wanted... Okay, first of all...
Tom Sandoval is one of the most insufferable people I've ever seen on television in my life. This is going to be a hard season.
I know. It's just the writing's on the wall with how he's going to be acting. And here's the thing,
too. He's still talking and acting like this whatever months later.
Now, too.
That's what's so infuriating.
I know.
Can't deal with that.
I thought it was... I actually wrote kind of a lot for this, so... This is interesting, but at the beginning of the episode, it just kind of picks up after we left Tom's party and emo night. And it was just absurd how James leaves and Sandoval is trying to get all these people at this party on his side. And he's saying to Tom Schwartz that what James did with Kristen literally 10 years ago was worse.
It's just like, why? It doesn't matter anymore.
No, it doesn't.
What are you talking about? And it's like James is gonna feel hurt that he was engaged to her,
and Tom Sandoval helped with the
know, and he's
proposal. How do you expect him to feel?
Such a he doesn't get it. He still doesn't get it. He can't just stop.
I know.
Just accept. If he would just accept what people were going to say to him, then even if he didn't feel it, it's like he cannot not be insanely defensive.
Just has to be so combative every time. And poor Schwartz,
surrounded by yes men.
As soon as he says, like, what he did was totally worse, Schwartz is just there like, oh, no.
He's like, you didn't say that, did you?
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, I said it. I was like, oh,
he's just like, please, Lord, like, take me now.
Just say it. He's like, just apologize. But
he can't. He literally cannot. And it's the exact same thing that we heard a couple weeks ago with him on Nick Viall's podcast.
It's like he does not change. And even in this episode, he's like, yeah, Ariana's not out to like ruin me or whatever. But you are still out saying horrible things about her.
Right.
And you're acknowledging that she doesn't do that.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. He cannot.
It's like
humble himself.
I mean, it was
really
just painful to watch.
The whole episode with him, every time he came on the screen, you're like, oh, like you shuddered. You're like, oh God.
Here he goes again.
So then James and Allie arrive at emo night. And then, James kind of tells the group that I was just there at Sandoval's party and this is what he did and whatever. And Ariana says that he has nobody around him that's giving him real truth, real feedback, and everybody's on the payroll. And I wanted to say that last week because when they gave everybody like the little like chyrons or lower thirds, whatever, saying who they are, it's like, manager, band member, he's paying everybody. All the people that are there are paid by him. Of course they're going to be yes men. Right. Of course they're going to listen to him complain and be on his side. And then who the other people, Kyle Chan and Billy Lee, I mean, obviously they're taking his side.
I know.
So it's just like, I don't know. He's just surrounded himself by people that are feeding into his delusion. It was funny that Lala didn't know what emo music was. She was so out of place. And then Schwartz misses Sheena's set, and then we cut to where he's like, oh, sorry, I was over at Sandoval. And then they cut to the sad scene at Tom Sandoval's party where they're awkwardly singing happy birthday to him. I'm like, this is just awkward. And then he confesses to Billy Lee that Raquel / Rachel did not text him happy birthday and he was in his feels.
Do you think he's trying to like, I don't know what he's trying to do with that.
I know. Do you think that this is what he's actually feeling, or do you think that maybe he was also kind of setting the scene for Rachel to come back?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what. And it's like, I think, like, I do believe that he wanted to try to work on it or like actually have a relationship with Rachel. But then this is all, I don't know. I don't know what to think about what he's saying. I don't know if it's genuine that he
was upset about it.
Yeah. Or like if he actually, like, I think I don't know what I think, I guess. I'm not buying him right now. So then it makes me not buy that he is just so in love with Rachel.
I mean, I think he would have been stupid to not try to give that a chance, and to, especially publicly. Right. It would have been a terrible move to just be like, oh, well, you know. Right. So I don't know if he's trying to save face in that way.
I know, that's what it kind of feels like, but I just don't know.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either, because then James was on Watch What Happens Live after, and Andy brought that up, and he was like, well, you know, I obviously wasn't talking to him much at the time, but he was like, I did believe what he was saying about being in love with her and all this stuff. Yeah, I don't know either. And so much of it too was like again, his own kind of like delusion.
Right. And it just feels like, I don't know, I just still feel scammed, I guess, by
I know.
Sandoval.
I truly just, between him and Rachel, like I can't even decipher what's real and what's fake anymore, what's like, true and what's not.
And she's saying, you know, oh no, he didn't really love me, and we weren't even a real thing. And then he's like, yes, we were. I'm like, I don't. It's just like embarrassing. I don't know.
It like, is. And honestly, seeing him act like that,
but it's like embarrassing and silly, and you sound like preteens.
Yeah.
Like
and you're what is he, 42? Come on, dude. Come on.
Yes.
Okay, so then Ariana and Katie get their IVs after a rough emo night, and they're just chatting about Sheena and how she invited Schwartz and that she is a flip-flopper, and that they're kind of like, well, we're friends with her, but we don't.
She's a flip-flopper.
Which she is. I'm also like so torn because I've been seeing Sheena get so much like hate on social media recently
she usually does, though.
I know, but I'm just like, I think we all just need to chill out a little bit. Like, can we just relax slightly? Like, I know that Sheena is annoying, and she is very much like the first one to forgive and make stupid mistakes, but it's like, I'm just over the like gang mentality on social media, I guess.
I know.
In general, I'm just tired of it.
Right. And it's like, sometimes I just want people to like get a life. Like,
right. Can we just watch the show?
I know, like literally just watch the show. Like, it's fun to hear and read comments on other things, but I don't like to see it on the actual person's stuff.
And it just annoys me too. Like, I saw a post and it was about the after show, which that's what I wanted to say. Like, I'm confused. I don't know if the after show actually comes on live, because I watched it live and then Watch What Happens Live comes on and the after show does not come on after. Does it happen later? Because then when I go on Peacock, it doesn't release on Peacock until Wednesday. But then I was seeing people online that had clips of the after show. I'm like, where is this after show?
Right. And like, when did they film it?
Yeah. And then I heard that they filmed that only a few weeks ago. So it is more recent.
It's too much.
And I just don't know.
And I'm so sick of like, I feel like this cast is doing it a lot. Being like, oh no, we're all fine now. It's like, okay, you're ruining the show.
Let me watch it.
Yeah, like let me watch it. Then you can say where you're at now at the reunion instead of all this like, no, don't be mad at me because we're totally fine right now. It's
or it'll be like, well, you'll have to see how that plays out, but I'm gonna drop these little hints about different things throughout this whole time and say certain things.
But me and Katie are totally fine right now.
It's not what you think.
I know, it's like, just shut up.
Just let us watch this show.
Literally over that.
But what I was gonna say was, I saw there was a clip about when later on when Schwartz kind of says something to Ariana and the comment is made about like her being the queen of the group, and then Sheena was like, and then Lala and James and Sheena were in a group for the after show, and then Lala and James are like, well, I feel like there's kind of a queen of the group every year, and Sheena's like, well, I've never been the queen of the group, which so valid, like she never has been. But then in the comments, everybody's like, such pick-me behavior, making it all about her.
I think it's weird that when people call Sheena a pick-me. Like, I guess that's not what I think of when I think of a pick-me.
Me either.
I feel like she's more like because when I think of pick-me, I guess I think of like a girl that wants to not be like the other girls.
Yeah, and
like,
I feel like she does want to be
like catering to men. Like, I feel like she isn't just catering to men. Like, she
caters
wants
to
everyone to like her.
Yeah.
Men, women.
It's not fun, in my opinion, to look through comments of
And people are only
videos
saying that
when
'cause of Nick
everybody,
Vial.
yeah, but when everybody's just like ganging up and saying like one thing that's not even about like the topic of the like
Right.
that, like I like
wanna
to
get
scroll
in-
through
I
comments
know.
to see other people's opinions on
I know.
stuff.
I don't want to hear about what they think about something else. I want to hear
Yeah.
what they have to say right now.
And about this video,
Right.
not this one thing that you pulled apart and now you're all
Right.
just ganging up on one person. That just
Right.
frustrates me. But I think Sheena's kind of used to that, unfortunately.
She is.
And she's very aware
Right.
of it. So then we get another scene where Lisa's reminiscing about pump closing. We didn't really touch on it that much last week because I don't know, we had like other stuff happening. We had to edit around. We had some technical difficulties as we do every time. But I wish that we had more of like a grand thing for pump closing. Like that last party should have been a little bit more like,
I know, not a fight.
yeah, it was weird. And then now this scene was sad where everything's kind of like packed up and she's...
And that almost seemed like out of place in the season. It kind of seemed like, well, why don't you go to pump and sit down?
Right.
And get on the phone with Ken. And then Ken's just like, yeah, if you want to keep it open, just keep it open. It's like...
It is so crazy though, like that. Just, I know that the rent there is really expensive, but I believe, I don't know why she would make up like the term of the lease, but 10 years is a long time.
That is.
I mean, for anybody, for any business or restaurant to go in 10 years, like that's a huge commitment. You have no idea what's going to happen.
No, in the pandemic.
Yes.
Like,
so I don't blame them for pulling out of that.
Right.
But it is funny how she's like, yeah, you know, Ken is going to want to retire soon. And then in this episode, they're like, we're opening Wolf.
I know, like literally. No, we're doing something else.
So then who saunters in but Tom Sandoval? And this was, for me, one of the most difficult things to watch from this episode. It was just so... It was like a train wreck. Like you could not look away, but it was so painful. He was so combative with Lisa from the very beginning. He basically would not listen to what she was saying at all. And she was giving sound advice, in my opinion.
He was getting mean. Fight. It's just, I just can't with them. I just literally can't with the fighting about stuff.
And then she even says, like, you know, the right thing for you to do would be to move out of this house and both of you sell it.
Right.
And he's like, well, why? It's a good house. One of us should have it. But in his mind, it's not one of us. It's him.
Exactly.
And it's just like, you're so childish. Like,
I know.
This is such a
literally.
silly argument.
Literally.
And then the whole time, she's like, you just need to show genuine remorse. Seriously, I think people still would have been mad. And I'm not saying that this would have
think people could have. I know, but people are way more forgiving than you expect them to be in the public, especially to men, not to be dramatic. But it's like, if he could just, and again, it's like he's still not taking accountability.
No.
He's still not, it's like, just act remorseful. You don't even have to really be remorseful.
Like, and I don't need to see the tears.
Right.
I mean, when towards, you know, the end of the last episode of this season, we see the
right. Yeah.
At Lisa's, like, that was so put on.
I know.
Like, I don't need that. You don't need to cry. Just at least pretend and be like, yeah, I messed up. This is on me.
Right.
I don't even want to speak on it anymore.
And even with the house thing, it's like, you're right, I should leave, but I can't, we're not communicating enough to be able to sell a house. And, you know, I don't have family here. Like, just anything else than saying Ariana doesn't pay the bills, though.
I know. He always has to throw out, like, how somebody else is doing something in his mind worse than what he's doing to justify his own actions.
Yep.
It's exhausting to,
I know,
like,
and I'm
listen
just not buying some of the things he's saying either.
Me either.
And he's using it as a weapon.
I agree.
And it's not nice to do that.
Not
saying that he didn't have like certain feelings when everyone is hating on you.
Because how could you not have, to be completely honest?
But to then throw that in people who are trying to reason with you.
And trying to help you too.
To just like throw it in the face. Well, you can't hold me accountable because I felt a certain way.
Yeah.
It's like...
he's being manipulative.
Yes.
You know, he really is being manipulative and just acting so childish. And it was annoying how he kept bringing up Sheena's podcast and how that like affected him and Raquel / Rachel so much.
Because you were jealous.
Well, and I'm also like, stop listening.
Yes.
Like what you should have done was go on a sabbatical like Jared Leto. Jared Leto, when COVID happened, he literally didn't even know it happened because he was off the grid for like a month or however long, and he comes back into a new world. Like that is what Tom should have done. Get away from social media, put the phone down, go off. I'm not even saying that he had to go into like a treatment facility. Just go on a wellness retreat.
Right.
Just go out into the desert.
Right.
Go do your mushrooms or whatever you want to do. Stay off social media. But guess what? He couldn't do that because he can't be out of the limelight.
No.
He had to keep having attention on him.
Yep.
He was going on his little rock star tour and changing the lyrics of songs and egging people on the whole time, consuming all this media that he didn't need to at all. Like, it's the same thing that we've said about Rachel, too, even now. Why are you watching this show?
Right.
Step away.
Right.
But you can't because you love it.
Right. Because they're talking about you.
Yeah. Whatever. That made me so heated. I'm like, you should have gone off the grid. And then if you would have come back, I think it would have been so much easier for him to come back into the fold had he, after the reunion, just disappeared. And then he comes back, hopefully with a clear head, and can start rebuilding relationships that he wanted to rebuild or that were able to be rebuilt. And
I think that's what's kind of like not really working so far on this show is that there's no reason that any of them would be talking to him right now.
No, and
so it's a weird dynamic.
The only reason why Schwartz is talking to him is because Schwartz
got that dead body somewhere.
Yeah, they have something that's connecting them for eternity. And I mean, he hasn't even given a great apology to Schwartz for everything with the business and just how this affected their friendship, really. Yep. It's just bizarro. It's just insane. And I thought he was being really rude to Lisa.
He was.
Okay, then we move on to Sheena and Katie, who had lunch. And Katie said that she was going on a date with that one guy from the 27s. And I was like kind of excited about that, but I feel like we're not going to
heard anything unless she's literally.
I thought that would have been kind of fun and cute.
I know.
Even if it was just like a little fling for the season. But it hasn't been teased at all, so I'm guessing that.
It's not.
No. And then, they were just both talking about how they need to cut out people who aren't serving you or adding value into your life. That's just going to be really hard for Sheena. And I think from little bits and pieces that we've seen from previews of this season, I'm guessing it doesn't really bode too well for her.
No.
So, and then Schwartz and Lisa have that very set up conversation where they go to set up the Tahoe trip.
It was like, I'm just not, I don't know. Again, is it like we just seen too many behind the scenes stuff and too much fourth wall breaking?
I know.
It's like, okay.
I did think what was a little peek into Schwartz's life, and I don't know, this, we know about this, but like it kind of just shows me a little bit more about like the person that he is, where he's like, yeah, I got my brother into rehab for the third time, and like he really isn't doing well. Like Schwartz is, from what I know, he's like taking care of his brothers.
Right.
Like,
and where's Sandoval?
Yeah. And I'm just
Does Sandoval even acknowledge that?
Like, Schwartz should not be in that position where his grown brothers are relying on him.
Mm-hmm.
But because Schwartz is also kind of easily manipulated and he feels compassion for people, his way is to just be like, oh, I'll keep this secret, I'll help you, I'll do whatever,
right?
And that gets him in trouble. And look at how he's like, he takes on all this stuff and he gets in the middle of stuff for literally no reason. He tries to fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we already talked about how they're like, well, you can go to Tahoe. And then the whole time later, Schwartz is like, I jokingly brought it up to Lisa, but she said we could all go. Like, okay.
Don't we know from like Instagram that Ariana and Katie don't go to that?
Yeah. Because we saw that when it was being filmed, which again annoys me.
Yep.
Then we go to See You Next Tuesday. I had to make a note here. I hated Lala's outfit. I thought it was ridiculous.
I don't remember what it was.
She was wearing like this.
I think
it
like
was
the way she dresses.
It's so all over the board.
It is. And then she'll be like, it's a mix between Hailey Bieber and Rihanna.
I don't think it is.
Very different dressers.
She was wearing like I think it was a lace sheer bodysuit. So her whole butt was out with like a thong on. And then she had a corset that was cheetah print. And
she needs to be on Salt Lake Housewives.
It was so campy and it's like, this is for See You Next Tuesday. People are rolling up in jeans.
I know. And like the Vanderpump cast like dresses like I feel like they genuinely dress. Mm-hmm. Like it's not, we have our hair and makeup people coming and blah, blah, blah.
Right. I agree. So sometimes she just looks so over the top. I just found it honestly distracting. Okay, so then they're all kind of hanging out, having fun. Schwartz comes and Lala is like, were you invited or did you just show up? And I'm like, ouch, jeez. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's just, this is where I think some of it is a little silly.
I know.
We're filming a show.
I know. Like, why are you gonna, and then it's like just this breaking the fourth wall in like a weird way. It's like,
for no reason.
Nobody wants you here. Why are you filming with us? Well, because you all were on the schedule to film.
Right. Because we were told to come here and film and we have to set up this Tahoe trip. Like, literally. Stop. It's enough.
You know?
Yeah. And then I thought that Lala was being very self-righteous about the sober curious comment that Schwartz made.
I am okay, when I think of some, and I'm not gonna, I mean, we've talked about it kind of a little bit before, when somebody wants to be sober because they're like partying a little too much, like I accidentally listened to Lala's podcast and because I thought she was going to talk about this episode, but they rewatched or not this, I don't even know if it was this episode, but a current season, but they rewatched another episode and gave like no insight.
Yeah.
But they're like, it was when they're like, it's so weird, you know, the over the top
to see
her
you
drinking
assistant
and blah blah blah. She's like, but you really seem like put together and stuff. She's like, oh really? You thought I seemed put together? Because I guess when I think of like a true alcoholic, I'm thinking like, you know, even like in Jessica Simpson's book where it was like drinking from sunup to sundown, and that to me is and I think we've even like in real life, you can tell when someone's like an alcoholic or a super heavy drinker. And that is not what I think of when I think of Lala. And if she wants to be sober because she has a lot of anger issues and that triggers it, then she's like, I used to fight people when I would drink and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but stop. I guess it's not my place to say, but I just think she's a little too dramatic in saying it when she does.
Well, because she's not an alcoholic, and she's even said that she's not an alcoholic.
Right, and then she also implies like she is, and it's like, no, you just are choosing not to drink because it doesn't serve you very well.
Fine, right?
And it's like, but stop. it's just like always a thing with her. She's always got to be talking about how she doesn't drink. And then I'm starting to think she's drinking secretly.
Well, but you know what's annoying though is like, okay, so you're talking about your erratic behavior, your anger,
Right.
whatever, and you didn't want that to be in your life anymore, so you stopped drinking. All right, well, look at how you treated Raquel at the reunion,
Right.
stone cold sober.
Right.
I mean,
It's like, I think you just have an anger issue that gets exasperated by alcohol. And I think that is the same thing with James. And it's like, yes, he probably shouldn't drink because he has anger problems and it makes it worse. Like him peeing in the bushes was really I don't think we talked about that last time. Like that was really disgusting. But that is what James does when he's mad. He's
and I don't even think
petty.
that really, and he like mentioned that on Watch What Happens Live too. I really do think that it's also like, I don't want to say like a cultural thing, but it is like a gross thing that I think happens a lot in Europe where you just literally will pee anywhere.
Right. But it did feel like he did it out of anger.
Oh, he did. But it wasn't because of like he was drinking and did that. He was just mad and chose to do that to spite Sandoval.
Right.
And if we go like off of all the course of things that he's done, that was probably one of the like least inappropriate things that he's done out of anger in these seasons. But yeah, I just feel like also why is it your place to comment on what anybody wants to do with their drinking or how they're living their life? Like, okay, so Schwartz
I have to be the elite sober one.
Yeah, or like Sheena is also taking a break from drinking right now, and she was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm sober curious. Allie said that too, that she's doing that. James is doing that same thing. They're not saying that they're going to be sober for the rest of their lives, but like they're taking time off from drinking,
or like thinking about taking time off from drinking, or like thinking about the way alcohol affects them.
Like why is that your place to judge somebody on?
I know. She's like, I don't like when people say that. Okay, yeah.
Well, but you're not the leader of sobriety. Like please step down. I just thought that was. And if somebody would have said something like that to her, she would have been so mad.
I know.
And then when Tom Sandoval comes in and he's like, oh, I might use this time to apologize. See you next Tuesday at this public event where everybody's partying. This is where you're going to try and bring yourself back into the group. You're delusional.
And again, it's like Sandoval just walked in. Yes, because we all had the same call time.
He was told to show up an hour later than the rest of you with Kyle Chan. We know.
Although I will say it is kind of fun to see like the Kyle Chan who's always mentioned.
I know, we never really saw him that much.
Him on the show like ever.
I know, it's kind of funny to see him. He was like an enigma this whole time. Okay, this is where I had some mixed feelings. So then Schwartz brings up the Tahoe thing. We knew this wasn't going to go over well, you know? But I really did think that Ariana went in a little hard on Schwartz here. I mean, I think her anger and not wanting to like be friends with him and stuff is warranted, but to be like, you're a lost cause, like I'm way better than since when I cut you out, like why did it have to go to that level at this moment?
I mean, I definitely think she was kind of harsh, but then I was like still thinking about it and I'm like, I mean, she does feel really betrayed by Schwartz and the whole situation. I mean, she was even like a groomsman in his wedding to Katie, and I think I wish she would articulate it a little bit more, like, you were my friend too. Yeah. I know you have this psycho, whatever, with Sandoval, but it's like, you were my friend too. And I'm just really disappointed and I feel like I can't trust you, instead of being like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You disgusting loser.
Right. I mean, that's what I feel too. I think her feelings are very valid, but she's just, instead of actually saying what she is feeling and how she's hurt, she's just kind of going for
I know.
the
I feel like she's
blows.
saying what she wants to say to Sandoval to Schwartz, but she's not speaking to Sandoval. And it's like, I don't know if that makes her feel better or what.
I know. I just felt like in this moment that then fine. Then don't go to Tahoe.
Right.
Like, just say, I'm not going to go to this.
Right.
Okay, no big deal.
Right.
But again, like we said, this is also a show. And like you all knew coming into another season that you're going to be around each other and interacting with each other. If you're choosing not to do anything where another person is present, then that's like on you. It's not really other people's job to like cater to that, you know? So yeah, it's just
that's what's so hard about like this reality show and even like Beverly Hills House. It's like you guys don't like each other.
I know.
And it's in real life you would not be hanging out. In real life, what happened with Vanderpump, no, it just wouldn't be happening. Like, Ariana probably wouldn't be sitting there with Tom Schwartz. It's like
no, she'd never see him again. I guess I'm just getting kind of frustrated, and I don't know if it's like our own fault because we're kind of in the mix more with doing this podcast and seeing more stuff on social media, but it's just getting annoying that like, you know, we have seen more behind the scenes stuff. We do know more than maybe we've known in other seasons. And it just feels like it's almost ruined a little bit.
I know. And it's like, I know we're only like 3 episodes in, I think.
Yeah, obviously we're still going to watch.
Right. But it's like, I don't know where we can go from here with this show, with this dynamic.
Like for a future season.
It's like, I don't know where to go with this. It's like they had such a good
dynamic before.
And now it's like kind of severed, and I don't know how the show can work unless they do something completely different
where they split it off.
And like let everybody do their own thing. And I think I
don't see, like, say they did a spin-off with something about her. I don't see that being successful.
No, I don't think. I don't know how people are going to feel about like this season and the show after this, just because what was so good about Vanderpump is their dynamic and their relationships and how they had real friendships beforehand. And when, I don't know, I just don't, if they are not liking each other, like, and even when Ariana and Lala are like hanging out, I'm like, I'm still not really, they've had a really rocky relationship in the past. It's like, they are kind of getting along right now. It's like, what's Ariana supposed to do? It's like, I'm going to be like grateful to the person that was standing up for me at the reunion. Like, it just seems, I don't know. It just doesn't feel genuine. And I think characters, the people, the cast is trying to make it work and try and make it feel like old times, but it's just not. It was too soon after everything that happened, and I don't know.
I truly like don't know what they could have really done differently though either. Like
either not filming it when they normally do.
Yeah. But then also okay, we're annoyed that we had to wait until February to get this. We would have been more frustrated. Or maybe they should have just made it a little bit more like for this season it's going to be more kind of segmented where we're not going to have these huge cast trips with everybody. We're not even going to set
forcing
that
this
up.
thing. And it's like, that gets juicy drama, but we're not getting juicy drama. We're getting
just
like
the same thing rehashed over and over.
It's uncomfortable to watch. And like, I'm just like, I wouldn't want to be sitting there with them either. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I know. And honestly, like, since so much time has passed since, like, we're at almost a year since Scandal happened. Like, and it's been in the media so much. I'm kind of just tired of talking about it.
Right.
And it's just like, this almost needed to come out like way sooner. Because I would have still been.
I know, like this should have been filmed and then we should have got it like in November.
Yeah.
Maybe even December would have been fine, but it's not working. The way they're doing it.
I know. And I don't know, who knows how the season's going to play out, but if it's going to constantly be this type of thing between Ariana and Sandoval, and that's affecting everybody else in the group, it's not going to be super fun to watch. And the
cast is extra small.
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, I just wrote, we kind of just said, like, if Ariana doesn't want to be around Sandoval, like, that is her own decision. And I almost wish that she would just, and I know, like, emotions are still running high, but I almost wish that she would just be like, you know what? That's fine if all of you want to do that. I'm not going to participate,
Right.
and you all know why.
I know, even if she was like still kind of like witchy about it and was like, come on, you know I'm not going to go.
Right.
And then just kind of like dropped
But
it.
to just keep going, it's the same thing over and over, and it's not enjoyable to watch. And then Lala says that Schwartz needs to wake up about Tom. Like, yeah, I think we all know that, but like, they're in this weird, bizarro blood brotherhood that no one can understand.
Yeah. Maybe there's multiple bodies. They're the freaking, like, I don't know, strangler of somewhere.
Yeah. But, well, I think that'd probably be Sandoval, and Schwartz was just the accomplice.
In the getaway car.
But it's just like, that is for him to realize and make a change about you. Like, berating him and yelling at him about it is not going to change his mind. And quite frankly, like, I don't know why you even care that much, Lala. You weren't even close to, like, what? It's like none of your business. Get over it. And if not that we have like such a weird connected dynamic like they do, but let's be real. Like, we talked when all this happened how it would be hard to be each other's friend through that. But don't you think it would also be really hard to just cut each other off?
No, that's what I think. It's like it's hard being a friend out here. Like, I get where Schwartz isn't. I mean, they've been friends for like freaking 20 years or something or more. Lived together, been through all this stuff together. It's like, he's not just going to get rid of Sandoval because he did a bad thing. I mean, he's done bad things a million times. It's like, and he's never given up on him.
And Schwartz has done bad things too. And yeah.
And it's like, it is hard when it's like, and people, and that's the thing too, and I'm not defending Sandoval, but sometimes you really do just like get in a point in your life where you do feel weird and funny, and you might hopefully you don't make such an extreme mistake, but people do things out of like emotion, and that doesn't always mean that they're like a bad, horrible person that's gonna make all these mistakes again. But I think, obviously with Sandoval, we're still seeing that he's not remorseful at all. But it's like, making one mistake, even if it was severe, wouldn't immediately unless it was like a personal attack to me. But it's like, how many times have friends done stuff to us,
Yeah.
Or like friends, but not like a super good friend or something. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes you do just take it.
It's like, I think we both have some friendships where it's like things annoy us about those people, but it's like, well, geez, we've been friends for 15 years at this point. Like, I can't just cut them out now. Right.
And it's like, and it is so easy to be like, just cut them out. But it's not.
It's not.
It's literally not easy to do.
I think it's a lot of like where they live too. Like, big cities are a hard place to be, and it's really easy to feel lonely when
none of them have family there. It's like even Ariana and Tom living together, they don't have family there. Where are they supposed to go?
Right.
It's like
that home is still a comfort for them.
And it's like friendship to them is just so important because they don't have their family there. Like, that is their family. Some of them don't have kids. It's like, they don't have that stuff. They need their friends.
Because even with, we're digressing a little bit here, but with like Schwartz and Katie divorcing too, like, I think that like impacted Schwartz in a way that he didn't really think it would, because he still, we see how he still like craves for that friendship with Katie, but
or like
she's
that person.
Yeah. And she's just like, we're not going there anymore. You know, I think she's more sure of herself. She has more of a good group of friends, a larger group, and he doesn't really have that. And then on top of this, and we got, like I said, a little bit into it where we heard about the brother with the conversation with Lisa, but he had all this other stuff going on with his family that was not discussed on the show. And why would he then try to disrupt things in his friend group when that's the only like stable thing that he had?
It's like, yeah, it does make sense for him to, but Sandoval's my friend, you know what I mean? And it's like,
it would just, it would be really hard if I was in this position, like if I was Schwartz, you were Sandoval, it would be really hard for me to have the same relationship with you that I had before. And, you know, I think we would have to have a lot of conversations. I would have to see that you actually are making changes, but I would have a really hard time just totally cutting you out. Like, I mean, we communicate with each other every day. Like,
which I'm sure that's how like Tom and Sandoval to an extent, because again, they don't have family
and
there.
Plus they're intertwined in business too. I mean, how do you, it's almost like, ridiculous. Yes,
obviously it's like, get rid of Sandoval. It's like, okay, well, you get rid of your mom then.
I mean, essentially,
you know, that's your friend. Cut her out. You know, it's like, it's not this like black and white.
So
and I think some people are better at doing that, and I think at a certain point, like, you know, you do get fed up and you're like, okay, this is how many times, and it's just, I'm done, I'm over it. But even though Sandoval like hurt their business together and like their reputation, Sandoval didn't really do anything to Schwartz technically. Like, it wasn't like he was sleeping with Katie. It was like totally different. You know, like, it wasn't affecting him, and he's probably thinking, I mean, it did affect him.
But at the time, it wasn't. It's really easy to say these black and white statements, especially when you're not fully involved in that, or like, okay, yeah, of course it's easy for Lala to not talk to Sandoval anymore. She never liked him anyway. Like, obviously it's easy for you.
He wasn't her friend.
So like, it's not so simple.
I can easily stop talking to one of my coworkers.
Like, you know I mean? Like I could walk into work tomorrow and not but when it's a friend situation, also, even like you said, if you are choosing to like kind of cut a friend out who might be toxic or whatever, it's a phase out. It happens kind of slowly. You know, and maybe Schwartz will
eventually,
and maybe he'll mature himself a little bit and realize like, hey, the growth that I'm doing with myself, you're not doing.
And it's like, I'm out here defending you, but you're not
making any sort of change.
Me. Like, well, you know, Tom or, you know, Schwartz is going through a lot and blah 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 blah, and you know, I was there for him because I have a feeling he was not there for him. I know,
I don't think he was either. But yeah, it's just not that easy. And then it ends with the very awkward conversation with Sheena and Tom in the iconic back of Sir, where there always seems to be a million chairs and random furniture.
Everyone's smoke breaks.
This was just really awkward, and it's where
goofy.
It's like, this is, you know, a setup thing or whatever, but it also did feel genuine where it's, I know, like I
feel like she probably was not anticipating to have like this one-on-one with Sandoval.
So, but again, I mean, he just went right back into the same thing and is just playing the victim, and he's trying to make small talk. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And he just really was not able to listen to what she was saying and take it in. And, you know, I mean, I think some of the stuff that he was bringing up about like what everybody was doing with the podcast and interviews, whatever, like, it was valid. But at the same time, like, they could have not done it, but they were almost like forced by the media to continue to say stuff, because like literally every publication, every news station was talking about this. Like, if they weren't as part of the core group. It would
right,
have been
and then,
weird.
and there's literally rumors that Rachel was pregnant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was all kinds of stuff going around. And if you have a platform like a podcast to say, no, this is what was said, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I also feel like, that was their chance to get some more money, get some more views, get some more download. I mean,
it's
why?
Like, you're not talking to me, Sandoval, so I might as well.
Yeah, I mean, but you really should, and that's what's kind of hard sometimes about like the entertainment industry, and like it is kind of cutthroat at times, but like you have to think about yourself and just like
it's like, well, I can tell my truth.
And again, like we said, I don't know why Tom was listening to that stuff. He should not have been consuming that media.
Or if he like is just hearing clips, it's like, if you're going to do that, then listen to the whole thing and see what was actually said before you're like blocking people, I guess.
And then again, now with talking to Sheena, like spinning it around and making it like she was the bad guy in this whole, like, no. So then it kind of ends with her being like, you really need to humble yourself. And she walks away and he just wasn't receptive at all.
What?
Yeah.
I'm so humble.
Yeah.
What?
He just ridiculous. So I had a couple funny things from Watch What Happens Live, not even like really related, but I just thought they were funny. There was one, like a couple came on, man and a woman, and they were asking a question, and they said, the guy's name was Tom, and the girlfriend is like, oh, he's a good Tom, but Andy thought that she said that he's a good time, and he goes, oh, he looks like a good time.
Awkward.
And then they like went on with their question, and then people in the audience or maybe one of his producers was like, that's not what she said, and he's like, wait, what did she say? And then it was kind of awkward, but it was really funny. And then they brought up about Graham, and they asked him about how Graham's doing, and he says, no, it's hippity doo-dah is his full name. And James says, we don't even say GC. We don't use that word in the house anymore. That was just kind of funny. And
I'm curious how all that's going to transpire on the show.
I mean, we're setting it up little by little, but, and then the last thing that was funny, I just think Andy really loves James. I think he really loves like how what he's done for Vanderpump. Right. And like we said before,
he's good. He's a good reality person.
I know. And I know that we kind of talked about some like allegations that were out there and whatever. Oh, I don't think we talked about how Allie did Sheena's podcast, did we?
No, I didn't listen to that, but I did see she was on there.
Well, just a small, like, fork in the road here. Sheena brought up about the like abuse allegation that was brought up on,
and Rachel's been saying that.
Yeah, well then it was also brought up on Two Teas in a Pod, where they Tamra and Teddy claimed that they were like sharing a limo, and I can't remember the exact what event it was, but some event. And they said drinking was involved, and allegedly James got kind of physical with Allie to the point where they had to pull over and like stop, get out of the car and whatever. And Allie like fully said that did not happen. She's like, I have no idea why they would even say that. She's like, he never put his hands on me. He never has. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess naysayers could be like, well, what do you expect her to say on a podcast? But right. I also just don't feel like Allie has any reason to lie about that.
And I don't know if I guess it's not like the right way to be is to be like, she doesn't seem like the person that would put up with that. I really don't know what to think of that. I feel like if he, like, do I think he was the nicest to Raquel or Rachel? Not really, but she still hasn't fully said, like, he was abusing me. And honestly, she doesn't even really talk about him. It's all about, like, Sandoval. And I don't know if she will or not. I guess I just don't know what to think of that. And I know, like, Kristen has kind of, like, implied some stuff. But like I said before, we've on camera seen Kristen punch him in the face.
Right. So and it's like, yeah, two wrongs don't make a right, like
Right.
it's not like but people really do have those relationships where they both are very physical and combative with each other, and it's a very toxic relationship,
and I guess
you shouldn't be in that.
I know, and I guess because like Kristen and Raquel are not fully saying anything, I guess that makes me a little bit more skeptical. Like if they both, kind of like said that something like that happened, then I guess I would believe it a little bit more, but they're kind of not.
I know.
Saying it, so I don't really know what to like really think of that.
And I don't like the fact that they're kind of dropping little hints and rumors about a relationship that none of them really know anything about. Like Raquel doesn't know the ins and outs of James's relationship with Allie, and certainly Teddy and Tamra don't either.
Right. Or even like, was it last season where Rachel was like, something happened with Allie and James and they got kicked out because he was yelling at her. And then she shares that, but she doesn't share something that happened to her.
Right.
Which I find, and then
we ended up hearing more to that story, and it actually was not how she painted that picture at all.
Right.
So and Allie did say, she's like, I appreciate that people, might feel concerned for me, but I am safe.
Right.
And she admitted, she's like, this is part of the reason why, like, we both have said we don't want to drink anymore, because she's like, I have done things too that, like, my anger has gotten the best of me. She's like, it wasn't just one-sided. And I mean, people struggle with that. And also, like, when you're kind of under the microscope of a reality TV show, that like heightens things too. And maybe if you were just a couple from freaking Wyoming who were out at the bar, like, you wouldn't have more heated fights.
I know, where like fans are like heckling you and different things like that. I don't know.
So, and until she, like Allie, says that there's an issue, I'm not gonna play into these rumors and where they're kind of making allegations that like Bravo covered something up. Like, again, until we know for sure, like, I don't even want to speculate on that.
Like, when Rachel did that reality reckoning thing, it was like, we talked about it. We're like, why is nobody talking about these implied like allegations?
With Sandoval.
And when he was saying like, oh yeah, like blah, blah, blah about James, it's like, why didn't anyone talk about that? Like, if there was any, I don't know.
But this is like, these are dangerous things to be throwing out about people.
Can we like address these in a way? Like, it just makes you feel weird.
And I think from like Bravo's perspective, like they almost don't want to go there because maybe some things are unfounded, and it also can open a huge can of worms. But it's just really irresponsible to just throw stuff out there like that and then not have anything to back it up, or to just like not talk about it again. But the last thing I was gonna say was then James was like, oh, I want to do it, as in Watch What Happens Live, with Allie next time. And Andy goes, I bet you do it with Allie every night. I'm like, Andy, you're a little like saucy.
I wonder if Andy has a little crush on James.
No, like, does he want to be involved? Right. It was just funny. It was a cute little episode of Watch What Happens. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our VPRs, so we can move on to Beverly Hills. We were just saying before we started recording, like, I'm entertained by this season of Beverly Hills, but like you said, there's just so much beating around the bush, and we're not talking about the elephant in the room, that it's almost exhausting to watch. It's like
kind of point. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's like, I get it. It's a hard situation. She might not know how she really feels, or like Kyle or whatever, but it's just like, I don't know.
But it's not even just with Kyle either.
Like everything. It's like, I'm a little slightly mad at you because you did this. I'm a little slightly annoyed from 3 seasons ago when you said this. It's like, huh?
Or like, even this episode with Sutton and the Merce's ashes and stuff. And then, now all of a sudden, this isn't just about Merce. It's about my divorce and my father. It's
I'm like, what?
well, where did that, like, I can see how we got there, but it's like we've been harboring this entire time and we're just not talking about it.
It was a hard episode for me to get through with Sutton. Once I got past the Sutton part, so it was a little better, but
there just isn't. It's entertaining, but I don't feel super engaged in it. You know,
and I don't like I kind of don't like the cast as a cast together.
They need to mix it up. We've said that multiple times now, and every episode it just becomes more and more clear. Like, I think that's part of the problem, is that the vibe is just kind of off.
They don't like each other. Mm-hmm. They don't trust each other.
Yeah, I think it's more than just like not liking. The trust isn't there, and the genuine friendship isn't there.
They're all like side eye.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to say this thing and I'm going to see everyone's reaction. Yeah. And it's like, that's not the kind of conversations I want to have with people.
Right.
Like, I don't do that with my coworkers.
I know. And like we said before, what makes Housewives so good is when they do have some sort of genuine connection. It doesn't even have to be a full-on friendship, just a genuine connection to each other. And
it's like the fights are actually hurt.
Yes.
Instead of like this, well, I should probably be offended by that.
Yeah. Just for a storyline.
Right.
So we have to go through this whole thing where Sutton is upset about, Merce's ashes. She realizes her divorce and her dad are wrapped up in there. It really seems like she was blindsided by her divorce. I mean,
it does.
That's something that we didn't know a ton about throughout other seasons, but this one, it seems like she was not expecting it in any way, shape, or form, and it really hurt her.
Right.
So then we finally get to the point where we're gonna let Merce out, and we're doing this beautiful thing, and the ashes just fly back in the wind all over the ladies.
Foul.
Yeah.
And not respectful to the person that passed away.
And just, if I was Sutton, I would have been upset about that too.
Like, what they were supposed to go in the beautiful
I know.
ocean.
And I thought it was really awkward just after they did the ashes, and then everybody else went up and said what they want to let go of, how there's just random pedestrians walking through. Like, this was a very busy area.
I know, and
why did you choose there?
And it's like this Merce, what was his name? Merce.
I can't remember his last name.
Why on earth would he want these strangers at his whatever thing?
He wouldn't.
It's so beyond. Like, I just
couldn't.
I know. I literally couldn't. And then I'm like, is this even really his ashes? Like, I know. I'm like, what is this right now?
Yeah, it was a reach for sure. It's like, we need a trip. We need to go to Barcelona. Oh, I know. I can kill two birds, one stone.
I was like, crazy.
So just to breeze through what the ladies all kind of let go of, Garcelle says she's letting go of...
Very vague things.
Oh, all of them were very vague. She needs to let go of loneliness and just everything with like the men in her life, with her dad who left and came back, and then her husband who she trusted, and then he betrayed her. Mm-hmm. Okay, whatever. Crystal gets up there. She's sobbing about having to let go of her adult brother. I
know sometimes I'm like, I just don't, like, I just try to tell myself, I'm like, I don't have siblings. I don't get it. And maybe that's...
And I know culturally it might be a little different too. I get that. But it's just like, geez Louise, let the poor man live his life.
Right.
And like...
Don't you marry him if you love him so much.
And not to be like, so producer minded, but it's like, Crystal, like, this storyline with your brother didn't land the way you thought it was going to. So this was supposed to be something where we all feel emotional about you having to let go with your brother. It's not working. We don't feel it. I don't even remember what Anne Marie said because it was so unbelievably vague.
I know. I was like, this thing that troubles me.
I need to let go of. So I truly don't even know. She does nothing for me. Then Dorit says she needs to let go of her PTSD. I think that's like easier said than done, obviously, and she acknowledges that. But I really do hope that this is some sort of real
her
symbolism.
husband comes clean about the fake. crime that happened in their house so she can
she
move
can
on
move
with
on.
her life.
But then she'll be betrayed by
Yeah,
PK.
oh, yeah. I know that would be depressing, but come on, let's stop the charade.
It would be more interesting. And then Erica throws everyone under the bus and says, I'm letting go.
I know. I did kind of love that. In her outfit, she looks so beautiful. And she's like, oh, you guys are butt heads.
I'm letting go of all the hurt you have caused me. And they show like Garcelle like,
okay.
I just thought that was so freaking funny.
She's been waiting for that moment.
I know.
For the past 2 seasons.
The whole time she's been in Barcelona, she's like,
I know what I'm going to say to these ladies.
I do feel like we didn't talk about it last time, but when she brought up about, the thing with the money and the earrings or whatever, the jewelry, it's like, Erica, this isn't a win for you.
No.
It's like, of course they're not going to be able to fully have a paper trail to prove that all the money that purchased these earrings.
Weird.
Like, why are you so stuck on it?
I know, and it was like, was she trying to be like, see?
She was.
See, because they were my earrings.
Yeah.
I was not the bad guy.
I was right. I told you so. It's like, no.
No, that's kind of like another thing. It's like she just doesn't get it. So let's stop talking about it. Same with Sandoval.
But it's like I also acknowledge that it also isn't as easy as I'll give you the earrings and pay the victim. Like it's not that easy, but
no. I did think that was interesting when they were all sitting in the bus and they were all talking about how they didn't trust their husbands. And I was like, okay, maybe you shouldn't have got married. Right. And it's like, oh, you mean marrying the rich scam artist didn't work out
don't
amazingly?
Sign anything. Yeah. Like, don't let him sign for you. You need to be involved. It's like, okay.
Why are you marrying this? It's almost like you knew your husband was a bad person before you married him.
You were attracted to the lifestyle.
I know, that's kind of how it felt. It was like, oh, so it's not what you made it out to be. Like, oh. Huh.
And then there's poor Kyle, right? Where she was like, he handles everything. I don't know.
I know. I was like, oh. Oops, it's because...
Well, you're the only one that has a genuine marriage, Kyle.
You're like, are you just noticing that now?
Yeah. That was funny. I forgot about that, too.
I was like, wait a minute.
And then Kyle comes up and says that she's letting go of some guilt regarding her friend's loss of life.
Slur slide.
And
whatever they say on TikTok. Because they can't say that
word. And stuff with her sister. And then I thought it was kind of nice that she gave us a little peek into how she's feeling about her marriage in the confessional, though. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't know how to talk to these ladies about it. I don't know if I want to talk to them about it.
That's like, you don't like them. You don't trust them. You don't trust them. So it's like that right there. Hello. You should be able to talk to them about that.
Do you think that because I heard the rumor that she might not be coming back next season.
I did hear that too.
What do you think?
I think if they changed the cast, she would.
I mean, if she doesn't, they can't keep the same cast either. No. I mean, that without Kyle, this whole group is going to implode. I think
that would be like crazy if Kyle was on the show, but like at this point it's like maybe she does kind of just want to like go with Morgan Wade and live in the country.
Yeah, especially if things with her marriage really are dissolving. Why would she want to stay? And she's made it very clear that she doesn't really want to stay in the Beverly Hills area, so
she sure did. So
yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting.
It will.
And then they did the flamenco dancing, which was a complete flop. They all were like,
I fast forwarded.
I just don't know if it'll work with my shoes and my dress.
I thought that was crazy that they were like, I can't walk in my heels.
Yeah.
Okay, then why did you get so dressed up for nothing?
You literally knew what you were going to do. It was so silly. That was so dumb. It wasn't even worth our time or energy. And then they get home, and then Kyle and Dorit kind of talk a little bit about Kyle's marriage with Mauricio. It just, to me, like we've said before, it just really seems like they're in different places. But for me, Kyle said that she kind of was like explicit with Mauricio and said, look, our marriage is in trouble. What are we going to do about it?
Right.
And he didn't really give her the answer that she wanted to hear. I do think it's like they're just in two totally different places.
Right.
Like it just so happens that this kind of later in life, not saying that either of them are like old, but his business has started to take off at a later time.
And I think a lot of marriages like rely heavily on the kids for like emotional support.
They're grown.
And that's like what you have, like when you aren't spending that time together, then it's like just the kids are what is your commonality. And like you get along perfectly because we're raising these kids. We love these kids. We talk about these kids. But then if you're not actually putting in time as a couple and like who you guys are, and then the kids are gone.
They did that in the beginnings, you know, with the it's like it always seemed like they had such a great marriage, and I think that they did at one time, but like, you know, everything with the agency started to get bigger and bigger, and then other things kind of happened with Kyle too. All through this time, the kids are getting older. Now the only one that's in the house is Portia all the time. That's like really relying on them. I just think that they really did not grow together. And that's kind of where the episode left off.
Right.
So not really a whole lot going on there. But I am curious to see like what the reunion will bring.
I know.
I think
do we
have one tonight?
Zombie.
Do we? So like we're filming on Wednesday. So tonight is it the last episode before reunion, or do we have two? I can't remember.
I don't know.
We have to be getting kind of close, or maybe I'm completely wrong.
I don't know. Honestly.
When did Beverly Hills start?
I don't know.
No, I think maybe I'm wrong. I think that they just recently filmed the reunion, or they're going to film it, because I just saw the seating chart.
Oh.
So I think I'm wrong.
So maybe like another month?
Whatever. It doesn't even matter that much. I do hope it gets a little bit more interesting, though, so we can have real things to talk about and not be so disengaged, because that's the way I feel right now. All right. Well, recommendation?
I'm going to have another Costco recommendation.
All right.
I got these, which I know you can make your own overnight oats, but I got this brand and it's called Mush. It's
yummy.
But it's actually really good. And it's like just like a small little cup. And it came with like vanilla, strawberry, and blueberry flavor in there. And it was just, I really enjoyed it. I should just make my own, but.
And they're just like in the fridge and you just, nice.
You just whip it open. It's been so nice, like in these busy mornings.
Yeah.
Just to grab it, eat it really quick, and be done with it.
It's sometimes the texture of those get weird too. So it's nice to find one that's not actually mushy.
You know, it like says mush.
I know.
But I mean, you can like, the oats are separate.
Yeah,
you know,
I like it when it's like that.
I know, when it's not like too, I mean, it's
so
a little
baby
soupy,
foody,
but it's definitely.
Well, that's a good find.
It was. I was like, I'm going to try these.
I'm going to recommend a show that I haven't watched yet, but I have heard so much about it, and I'm going to start. And if any of our listeners have watched it, I would love to know their take. But it is The Swans.
Oh, I was thinking about watching that too.
I've just heard so much about it and a lot of good reviews, and I think I'm going to start watching it. I think it's on Hulu,
It
right?
is. That's why I was like, oh, I can watch this.
So, I think by the time we record next week, I'll probably have started it. So I'll give an update and see if it's really as good as everybody has made it out
and
to
this
be.
is just going to be like a one season.
I think so. I guess
like a
maybe
mini
we'll
series.
see. But I heard some people were saying that this is like one of the best things that Ryan Murphy has done in recent years, which please God, let it be, because
let's go through this super fast.
I know. I also love that this era, so I feel like that's gonna be a big drawing point for me to the show. So all right, well, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you so much, and don't forget to follow us on our socials, interact with us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.